Episode 67, Meet the Breaker series with Wizey Official. Okay, I think it started. All right, so this is the Card Diary by Hobby S. Thompson. I'm your host, Denny Cards. I think this is going to be episode 67, and I don't know exactly what the title is going to be, but I think I'm going to call it maybe something like Getting Card Healthy with Wizey Official. Actually, before I talk about you more, is it Wizey or Wheezy?
It's Wizey, but people call it Wizey. My boss Reed calls me Wheezy. Honestly, either or. At this point, Wheezy, Wizey, Kyle, whatever people prefer.
Gotcha. And in your Instagram account, you say your name, Kyle Weiss.
Weiss, yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Weiss. Okay, so I have YZ Official on. He is mainly on Instagram. He's also, we talked about it right before we started pressing record, but a little bit on TikTok. I found his YouTube. It's believe me, as someone like me too, so early in YouTube, I don't even know of how much time and resources I want to put into it. But there's this other person who is like playing video games, and his name is YZ Official. But you are the official YZ Official.
Yes, I'm the official. I did not know we have a video gamer out there with the same name, but we are the official here.
Yes. All right. Awesome. So, before we get into your hobby story and your journey and just everything in life and, whatever we're going to talk about in the next, I don't know, I try to keep these within an hour, but I always go over. I really want to appreciate you for taking the time. You are currently in Vegas in a hotel room and you are dialing in, or, well, you're zooming in or StreamYard, whatever this is. Um, what's going on over in Vegas?
I mean, we have the Super Bowl here. I'm honestly not in a hotel. I'm staying with Hobby Hawk, C Blaz, and them. But Vegas has a lot going on right now. The Super Bowl is out here. Burbank Cards is the weekend after. I kind of had like a time frame where I could kind of have like a little bit of time outside of Florida. I talked to Reed about it. He said go for it, and I just figured why not? I love it out here in Vegas. A little cool weather change up from South Florida is nice. And yeah, I'm gonna try and just hammer in a bunch of content before Super Bowl, during, after, and yeah, Vegas is good.
Oh, to be young. I love I've been there over there once, and I used to play a lot of poker, and I used to be more of a gambler. And we're gonna talk about the gambling aspect because I've seen you do some gambling content, which I'm not against. It just feels like a long time for someone like me. But let me, I guess, introduce you a little bit. So I've gotten to know you through your content on Instagram, and for folks who are listening to podcast only, because again, I have to upload this on YouTube. You're currently wearing a hoodie that says Bleacher Breaks,
Yes.
right? And you no other paraphernalia, no shades, no hats. I mean, your bald is beautiful. You're a handsome young dude, and I gotta say, the first time I saw your content, I'm gonna very much. I don't know if I said this to you, Kyle. I was like, this dude, what is he doing? What is this nonsense? He's ripping his shirt off. He's like, the hobby's alive, and some people flex on Instagram with their cards, but you're literally flexing. And I'm like, what? Why is this dude taking his shirt off on my Instagram feed? And I was like, man, I need to mute this. But the more I started watching your content, I'm like, this guy's a real dude, and he's funny, and he's got that, what the kids say, the Riz. I can't stop watching. Like, what is going on with this dude? What is going on with this guy? And then you started sharing more of your kind of like life story, which I want to get into more. And I was like, people like this, it's social media has a way of just kind of like making us so one dimensional. And oh, this guy's like a ridiculous person, and people just kind of like guess who you are. They don't really know who you are. So podcast is long form, and I really try to make this podcast into something where people can just learn how the other side lives. So you're going to be part of this series where I'm going to be talking to some breakers, and you're part of Bleacher Break. So enough of me saying all that. Kind of, how did you get to where you are currently? Like, what's your hobby journey look like?
I've I guess from the beginning, I've always kind of been into cards and stuff growing up. Me and my dad used to go to Target, Walmart, feel out the packs, look for which ones, try and feel out for which ones had the patches and stuff. My dad used to always take me to like when the athletes had signings. Dwayne Wade used to always sign every summer at Publix. My dad and I would go there 5 a.m., wait hours in line, get the autos. I've always just kind of been into it. High school, kind of like middle school, high school, kind of tapered off. And then 2019, my buddy Hobby Hawk got a job with Blez, and he was telling me, check out the streams. This might be something you might be interested in. And the streams were always so engaging. I loved watching. It was a ton of fun. The community in the rooms was something I could get behind. And then the more I did research on cards and stuff, and I realized like this is a legitimate thing, I said, you know what? Like, why not try getting into a break? And honestly, my first break, I think that's what did it. My first break, I hit a rookie Zion auto out of Absolute. And after that, I was just hooked. And then I ended up getting a job with Blez like a year or so later, lived in Vegas, decided I kind of miss Florida and home. Reed Bleacher's always been a super close friend of mine, and I reached out to him. He said, "Yeah, we'd love to have you. I've seen what you've done," and from there, it's pretty much just been history.
So what you've mentioned the name Reed earlier. I think I met him at the National for a brief moment. This is the I don't know what you call it, the CEO or the president of Bleacher Breaks,
The owner of Bleacher, yeah.
the owner of Breaks. Okay. And you did break for them, or you currently break for them?
So when I first started, I was a breaker and I broke on one of their accounts, Bleacher Hits. Absolutely loved it, was crushing it. Reed said, I think you should just be breaking with me. He was on Bleacher Breaks account, the main account. We did that for a while, and then he said, I think I'm going to try something new, and I think you'd be very good at it. I know you used to do a lot of buying and selling, flipping on Facebook, and he started a repack, and I've been buying with the repack on eBay every day, and it's honestly been the best job I've ever had in my life. I love it.
That I mean, hey, buying is fun, right? I mean, but so you are putting the product. Well, I mean, you're not physically putting the product into the repacks, and I know I did. I talked to a couple of repack guests earlier, Roto Breaks, Rotobox slash Roto Breaks, and USB Ultimate Sports Breakers. But you are kind of like you're the inventory. I don't know, like you're buying the cards that go into the repacks, and you're trying to provide like some value, but also get some margin for the company, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I do help with like content and other things as well. Like I'm kind of like a Swiss Army knife where it's like, we need help with this, I'll help with that. But the overall thing is, yeah, pretty much just like going on eBay and just buying, buying,
Okay.
buying, buying.
I remember. So speaking of content, I remember seeing some content. I don't know how many weeks or months ago, and by the time this airs, who knows? But you are like wearing shades. You're in a suit, and like reads. You're saying something like how you're the boss of Bleacher Breaks now, and I'm like, dude looks like Hitman. The dude, he's like dressed to the nines, sharp, and I'm like, all right, I gotta watch this. I gotta figure out what's going on here. But you guys have like a legit office. You have like an office space, employees. You have like, do people report to you?
Me personally,
Yeah.
not so much. I kind of, for the eBay at least, I'm kind of like the main buyer and like I'll
Mhm.
help guide people. But I'm not like necessarily like anyone's boss. I'm kind of like my own boss. Other than Reed, like I just report to Reed.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of it. I just do
So
my own thing.
so you do like buying more than breaking, or would you say it's kind of both?
I love both. It's like at times I like miss breaking and want to go full in back to breaking.
Hmm.
You know, I love ripping. I love the energy, and I love just chatting with the people, honestly. But I don't know. Sometimes it is nice just to like sit on the computer, sit back. Maybe you have YouTube up or an NBA game up or something and have that going. eBay is probably a little bit more relaxing, I guess, because I mean, yeah, you're not on
Yeah.
stream, you're not trying to like constantly sell something.
Do hobbyists your age range listen to podcasts? Because my analytics, when I look at my analytics for this podcast, they tell me that people under the age of 30 don't really listen to my podcast or podcasts in general. Maybe it's like too radio adjacent. Maybe it's just there's no visual. But I mean, do you and your card friends, do y'all talk about podcasts? Have you listened to this podcast? It's okay if you haven't.
No, I've listened before. I, in general, don't listen to like, I really don't listen to like many sports podcasts at all. I don't know if that's like good or bad to say. I know Chad watches a ton, Seablez.
Hmm.
I watch a little bit. If honestly, the main thing I like to listen to on YouTube, as crazy as it may seem or not, I just like to listen to like speeches of like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, all those type of guys. Listen to like what their minds like,
Hmm.
and I honestly I don't listen to many like sports cards podcasts.
Well, it's an honor then for you to listen to mine in the past. So, you know what's really funny? When I was a kid, my mom and dad would always tell me, read these biographies, especially autobiographies of these really successful people so you can get to know, how did they get to where they are? And, they're being very like tiger mom and dad and very like, get straight A's, A- is not good enough. So, when you watch these athletes and their speeches, we are getting a glimpse of them with, it's like their video biography. Like we're getting to learn about them, right? And what made them who they are, what made them tick, what failures they had, what successes they had. And so I think I do like that you said that because I think there is so much from sports that we can apply to life. So like who are these like your PC players too? Like do you PC like Kobe, Jordan and all that?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. They are a little expensive, but yeah, I love Kobe, Ali. I just bought like a used game worn road piece of his. Yeah, I do PC him a little bit, but I love. There's a quote that's like, "You are the top five people you surround yourself with,"
Hmm.
and I might not be able to surround myself with people of that statue, the Kobe Bryants, the Jordans, the Alis, Floyd Mayweather. But if I could take a piece of their mind, how they think, what they do, how they analyze things, how they go about their day, their life, if I could take a piece of that, then by all means, I want to see, I want to hear the way they do things.
No, absolutely. I think that's yeah, I think that's really good to do. I think again, if people follow you on Instagram, they'll see like the silly side of you. And for me too, Instagram, I think podcasts are more serious or whatever it is. But when I did find the official Wizey official on YouTube, I saw you had some content out there and it was about kids meeting athletes and it had like inspirational music, it was uplifting. It wasn't like, silly. It was like it was kind of like heartwarming. And so I guess when I saw that content, I was wondering like has there been an athlete you've met where it impacted you? Like what drives you to make that type of content in addition to the silly stuff?
Yeah, that's kind of like a different direction I kind of am taking, I guess, with YouTube, at least right now, where I'm trying to like show these heartwarming things. I've had a couple experience that have been like where I've met, D Wade at the signings and like little things with him. I went to a Miami Heat, what was it, like a kids practice thing, and I had Shaq telling me to like go hit on the cheerleaders and stuff, little things like that. Um, about 6, 7 years ago, I got into a bad car accident. I was hit by a car, had brain bleeds, a brain shift, fractured skull, needed brain surgery. And honestly, I was down pretty bad. And Chris Weidman sent me a video, and Ally Aquinta, two UFC fighters. personal messages that just really, really like resonated with me and pushed me to, keep going and keep fighting, push through the adversity, and yeah.
I don't know much UFC, but for the folks who are listening who do, I imagine those are pretty popular fighters. And you mentioned that you waited in line at Publix, which is a wonderful grocery store in the southeast.
It,
The chicken tender sub, my absolute favorite. I'm getting hungry already thinking about it. But you would wait for The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
no, no, Dwayne Wade, Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade. Oh my gosh, why did I think what you said Dwayne Johnson? Okay, so wait a minute. Dwayne Wade was signing at Publix. For some reason, I thought that would be more The Rock, like you know, however many years ago, like a decade ago.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was like every summer he would do a signing at one of the Publixes, and it must have been somewhere in Miami. I must have been 6 years old, 7 when I
Okay.
started going to these signings. And yeah, it seemed like it was like every summer.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, like, how old are you now?
I'm 27.
27. Okay, so like 21 years ago. Man, you to be young, man. I do want to talk a little bit about like your like really like transformation, or you go from your bio says TBI survivor to just people may just see you just kind of like shirtless and like, oh look, I mean, I'm like jacked or I'm ripped, I'm just like living life, but like you had to work hard for that. Like you had to overcome a lot of obstacles and adversity for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been into working out, eating very, very healthy. So I've always been pretty in shape, and leading, like prior to that accident, I was training to try and dunk a basketball. I've always wanted to do it. Always kind of been like a life goal that everyone's told me I can't do. So I was
Hmm.
training for that. And then when the accident happened, I was in good shape prior, but pretty much everything was lost. I mean, I think I dropped to 105 pounds or something at
Oh
one
man.
point. I sort of had to relearn to walk to a degree. Not relearn to walk, but I mean, yeah, no, and kind of, yeah. I couldn't walk on my own. It took
Hmm.
at least a week after the surgery for me to even kind of be able to like take a step with someone holding on to me.
Yeah.
I had to work really hard, but that video I got from Chris Weidman kind of pushed me a little bit more. And I don't know, everyone was just telling me to be so careful. You'll probably never be the same athletically as you once
Mm,
were. And like something about after the surgery was done, I don't know, I just started feeling better. Like, why can't I, why not me? Why can't I
mm.
get into better shape, the best shape of my life? And that's kind of just it's taken a long time, but yeah, just every day working out, eating healthy, in the gym, hitting the sauna.
I feel like I have no excuses now. I just being a middle-aged dad, I guess. No, it's really impressive. I mean, I guess I haven't really talked about this much in hobby content, but like I used to do Spartan races, and I went to the gym quite a lot. I never did like 2 a days. I would just go once, or once every other day, something like that. But yeah, I it was a big I the closest I ever got, the highest I could ever jump was touching like that the bottom of the rim, like the net part, just right there. I'm five. I think I'm 5'10". My wife says I'm 5'9". I think she wants to keep me humble a little bit, especially with all the hobby social media influencer type of stuff. But I know that that was a goal of mine too, to try to dunk just a tennis ball, like just touch the rim. Could never get there. I was like just touching, grazing the bottom of the rim. And for you to go back to the gym after such a terrible accident, I mean, let's talk about how. I mean, you went to culture. You played in the Culture Collision influencer game, right?
I did, yeah, I did. We won.
Team Seablez won. The Where were you? Do you remember where you were drafted? Because I know there's like a draft between Blez and Santiago.
Yeah, I think it was. So here's the thing. Chad drafted me towards the end, but I swear on everything. I think Santiago tried to pick me in the middle of it. Santiago picked like Wizey collects or something, and
Okay.
then halfway through he said Wizzy, like give me Wheezy, what Wizzy? And Prism God said no. Like you already have him. Just pick someone else. And
Yeah.
Santiago's like what? Like I don't. And then he just picked someone else. I think I think he
Which
tried to take me from Chad.
it's the Wisey Wheezy thing. That was the confusion.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh man. And so how was that game? Like I don't know if you had like your stats or whatever, but like what type of game do you play? Are you more of a 3 and D guy? Are you a bump and grind? Are you kind of like the point guard? Like what's your game?
I'll kind of play to. I mean, no. I'm heart hustle defense at the heart, but
Mm,
like I like to drive a lot. I like to shoot. But if I don't need to, I'll just use all my energy mostly on defense or like trying
yep.
to get offensive rebounds.
Yep. That
Um,
so I think you and I would be very, very similar in that regard. I can never shoot. I never did camps or clinics as a kid. My parents couldn't afford it, that stuff. And, I didn't have like, organized basketball in New York City and Queens. So I would just brick everything. But yeah, heart and hustle, man. I love that. That's totally me. Just put all your energy on defense.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much what I did at the game. I was like, all right, Roth's going off, like Daps is doing good, Mr. Getting Flip. I was like, all right, like I'm just gonna lock these kids down. I think I had three, four steal, whatever it was.
Nice.
But yeah, no, that game was a ton of fun, all for a good cause.
That's
So
right.
yeah, no, that was amazing.
There were no spectators, but it's played in the overtime elite arena, right? So you're
Yeah.
playing on an actual full size regulation. Because I don't know if people know this. I mean, like I coach youth basketball, and I mean, the courts are smaller, but like a full regulation size basketball court, it is a haul to go back and forth on offense and defense, right?
No, yeah, it definitely was. I mean, I think you could ask anyone who played in that game. I mean, it's been a week now. I still feel like I'm feeling some of the bumps and the bruises. I know Chad says he's still sore, but yeah, no, it's definitely full size. You can definitely feel it on the body, but I mean, it's good, all of us getting out there, exercising, good cause, as I said. I mean, yeah, no, that was a blast. I took a couple rough hits,
Mm.
elbow to the face, but we do it for the love of the game.
All right, name them. Give the receipts. Who elbowed the great Kyle Weiss?
New York slabs.
Ooh,
Yeah. But you know, I got a little upset. He tried to walk over me after. I was like, all right,
what?
like I was like, if you cross me, shoot over me, walk over me, that's fine. You're gonna elbow me. Like, come on. But
Yeah.
we talked about it after the game. We hugged it out, made up for it. And he kind of said that there was a little bit of a target on my head because I was calling out borderline their entire team for not being good at basketball.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes you get what you dish out, and that's what that was a little. But
I,
him and I are friends now, so you make new connections,
that's
you
funny.
make friends, and you know.
I saw that content where you were calling them out. You were like really getting at. You went just down the list, like whatever, 12 players. You're just like this person's. I don't know like how bad. I mean, I can't remember exactly the words you said, but it was funny. I mean, I liked it. So
I
if I
kept
can,
it like PG-13. I didn't,
yeah,
it was nothing. It was nothing too bad,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. If I can drop 50 pounds by next year, you'll see me in that game.
oh,
Would
I
love
believe
to.
in you.
Yeah, I feel
Anything
like
you
I need.
want to do, you can do.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna have to like get training advice from you and like I don't know who's the Coach Co. He's like he's a pretty good. I think he's a personal trainer too or something like that. But eating right. I mean the thing is like if I work out, I mean that's great, and I haven't been doing a lot of that recently because of cards. but I mean, I think I just use that as an excuse. I think you can totally balance everything. Like, um, I think I do have to eat right, but I love to eat. That's the big problem. Like, I wasn't like this all the time, but like the pandemic, I just feel like completely, I don't know, changed things health wise for me, probably for the worse.
I mean, yeah, the pandemic was crazy and all that time, but I mean, I don't know, it's just like a day by day thing, and it doesn't have to. I think a lot of people look at it like it has to be this big, massive change, and it's like, I don't know, it could be intimidating. Even for me at times, I might get a little bit of anxiety, and I just have to remind myself, like, it's just a day by day thing, and you don't have to take it 0 to 100. It's like, all right, maybe Monday I'm here, and it's like I can't even walk a quarter of a mile, but maybe
Yeah.
Tuesday we push for just over a quarter of a
Hmm.
mile, and it's just like day by day, adding little things and slowly just growing.
Right. I think the thing I have to really change is my mindset is healthy food can taste good because it's not just your content, but I see other people's content and they have like this chicken breast and vegetables. And I'm like, that, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bring race into this, but that looks like white people food. It's like, doesn't look, doesn't look flavorful. There's like no sauce. There's nothing on it. And I'm like, how do you eat a plain chicken breast like with maybe salt and pepper? I don't know, like I can't, I look at that and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's gotta you gotta put something on that or make it more flavorful. But of course that's where the sugar and the fat and all that comes in. But I mean, I see some of the steaks you make and I'm like, man, this guy's disciplined.
I mean, to be fair, like, when it comes to food, I'm like mostly pretty bland. I will say though, like, I've trained my mind because the chicken, it gets so repetitive and
Mm-hmm.
disgusting. You're just eating chicken and rice and
Mm-hmm.
steak and pot. It's so repetitive where I've almost like trained my subconscious to just like tell myself, like, you love this food. Like, you love this. You need this.
All
This
right.
is it, baby. Like, this chicken
Mm,
rice, this is life changing.
mm,
Even though it's like it might be a mission to get down, but
okay. All right. So I think we've deviated way too much. That's my fault. Thank you for taking me down that road. I'll just DM you just the fitness and meal prep guide by Wizey. I'll have to send you cards in exchange as a thank you. But pickups, culture collision. What I don't know if you did buying. I know you said you buy on eBay for the repacks for Bleacher Breaks, but did you pick anything up for yourself for the company? Like, any notable cards?
so for the company, we picked up a ton of cards. Myself, I picked up a Howl, no, two Howl cards, and then I honestly didn't do like I'm thinking about what I did at Culture Collision, and even the past week, I've been like looking at the videos I took, and I'm just thinking like, what did you do? But I guess what I did at Culture was really just no, I went around and just enjoyed the show, was having conversations with
Connections.
everyone, and I
Yep.
didn't really care so much as like to get everything on video. And
Right.
I helped a little bit with the buying with Bleacher. We had a couple guys there and I helped them out a little, but they were crushing it on their own. Made a couple small pickups for myself and just pretty much enjoyed the show. Enjoyed being in Atlanta.
Yeah. I know that there's this counterculture in the social media space where people say, "Oh, content creators they videotape everything and it's just too much and they should learn to put the camera away and enjoy life." And it's interesting because for me, I'm like, I do enjoy life. I Some of my best moments in the hobby are not videotaped. It's just a candid conversation with someone about life or just having, real connections. But people don't see that because the camera is off. And so I think that as a creator, I mean, I want to maybe talk about this a little bit more. We talked about the breaking and all that and the buying, but when it comes to content creation, like how do you I I mean, maybe you already answered it in a way, talking about culture collision, but like, how do you balance like knowing when to turn the camera on and off?
It could be a very tough balance, honestly, and I've dealt with struggles at times where I'm, going back and forth with myself where I'm like, I'm not posting enough, and then it's like I'm spending too much time on this. And I don't know. I feel like with experience in anything in life, we just kind of start to pick up on it. And it's tough because even let's say you post 3 times a day, people think they're seeing, if they see you in the morning, evening, and night, they think they're seeing everything,
Hmm.
but they might see a minute and a half out of your day.
Right.
And I don't know, I think at times I just tell myself, like, all right, like, we tried to record this, or I recorded this. I know I got to edit this. Like, just give yourself a little bit of a break.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's all about just, I don't know. I try to stay disciplined. I'm bidding on eBay 6 or 7 days a week. I'm in the gym pretty much every day. And it just begins to get, I guess, to like time management, where I'm like, if I spend too much time on editing, I start to go a little, I don't know, and I need to give myself time to just go outside and go to the beach or just sit by the pool for a little bit. And I don't know.
I think giving yourself a lot of grace and compassion is important. We talked about physical health, but I know recently you made a video talking about like just mental health, and I'll very much admit, social media, it is real. There's real people who follow and like and engage with you, but there's some people who say things completely out of pocket who if that's how they talk to people in real life, like the first time they ever met someone, I mean that's I think that's called a sociopath. But it's amazing how you know I think social media, the people you meet online, it just becomes really crystallized in those card shows, like at Culture Collision, national, local card shows. And so, I feel like, yeah, I've definitely had to give myself some grace and compassion and not feel so much pressure. But I do feel it, and no one's asking me to feel it. I think, just being very candid, I put that pressure on myself sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like as humans, most humans want to just, push for the best that they can have and keep pushing for more. And, I think with social media, I feel like it's almost like a numbers game where it's like, all right, we're posting, every day or three
Yeah.
times a week, 5 times a week, and maybe every video isn't gonna do as good as we want, and I think it should be almost like a. I look at it. I used to get very stressed about the numbers. Why isn't this one doing as
Hmm.
good? And now I'm more of like, you know what? Like, I think that video was good. I'll try and maybe see if there are like little things. Maybe I messed something up with the editing.
Hmm.
And if I'll look at it for 5 minutes, if I don't see anything, 10 minutes, it's just on to the next.
Yep.
It's a numbers game. You can't let it stress you out. Even if you post 3 videos and they flop, it's like fourth one will be the one, fifth one will be the one.
Right. No, you're totally right. I don't let the numbers dictate how I do my content, but I look at it. But at a certain point, you just have to move on to the next thing. And ultimately, I think what people really don't realize is, you know, maybe in the past there used to be something with Instagram where you could, monetize your content. And I know on YouTube you can monetize with the number of subscribers, but the stuff I do for Instagram is really just for fun, and it's to make myself laugh or to make myself just sharing something to connect with people, I think. So, you know, the stress is something that I'm definitely trying to just kind of alleviate myself from, because it's not healthy. I mean, there's definitely a certain amount of stress that can be healthy and good for you, and it's what keeps you going and keeps you moving forward. But too much of it is like a lot of things, it's just not good.
No, of course. Yeah, and there is good stressors in life, but yeah, too much isn't good. And like I talked to other content creators too, and I think it is like a, I don't know if I would say common thing, but other content creators feel that same thing that you and I are talking about. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just about, saying like, all right, maybe this one didn't do good. And it's just, maybe I need to go on a walk, or maybe I need to
Right.
just go on a drive for 20 minutes, whatever it is, listen to music and
you know
just
Again,
reset a little.
no, absolutely. And I think the very premise of this podcast is seeing how the other side lives. So people who only consume content and don't make it, they don't really know the almost, inherent and, external pressures and factors that go into this. But I'm hoping that with sharing a lot of my journey on this podcast and having wonderful guests such as yourself is for people to understand, like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not, streets that are golden with golden bricks. It's just, it does take time, and but we do it because we love it. I mean, it's fun. I mean, and that's what it's supposed to be: cards, content, um, bland chicken. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, no, and I think a lot of people do maybe get it confused, and even going back to what I said, where people are looking at a minute or minute and a half of your day when,
Yeah,
there's 24 hours in the day, 60 minutes in each hour. And it might look like it is all sunshine and rainbows, but it's like there's, 23 and a half more hours in the day. And I don't know. Yeah, I think it's more of a long game, and reminding yourself too, why you got into it. For me, just to help, kind of almost, I don't know, try and give people a laugh, some
yeah,
entertainment, some knowledge when I feel like I can.
yeah,
Not that I'm an expert in any means, but if I feel like I can maybe give out a pointer or something that might help, I'll always, give it forth and try and give knowledge where I can.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen some of your content that's, educational, or again, like your YouTube stuff is it's heartwarming, and it's feel good. So I did want to talk because we've DM before, and you've mentioned it in your Instagram, like, stories and posts. But you have I mean, I guess I'll just say, like, you've talked with me and also in your social media about your struggles, or I don't know if you want to call it struggles, but alopecia in high school. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to just kind of talk about that, as that's part of who you are and all that.
Yeah, no. So I have alopecia areata. It's an autoimmune disease. It's physically, it doesn't harm me or anything. My immune system basically is just accidentally attacking my hair follicles, causing them to fall out. Up until I think 16. Up until 16, full head of hair, never the littlest bald spot. And then one of my friends honestly noticed it, that I had two bald spots. He thought it was from my Xbox mic at the time. I must have been playing like 10 hours a day at the time. So I thought it was that too. And then a third spot eventually came like a month or two later. And I went to a doctor and they diagnosed me with it. There's no true cure, but there's like certain stuff you can try and use to maybe help the hair grow back.
Hmm.
Um, and my hair has grown back, but yeah, no, it was like in high school, it was definitely really, really tough. I dealt
Hmm.
with a lot of anxiety and depression at the time.
Hmm.
Even, close friends would make little jokes here and there.
Yeah.
Classmates would make jokes about, having spots in my head, or people would say I look like, I had cancer, which, God forbid I didn't, but like,
Right.
high school is such a time too where, you care so much what other people think and
Hmm.
trying to fit in. And I was like a fairly popular kid in high school, but that kind of just completely demolished my confidence. I
Yeah.
didn't want it. There were days I refused to go to school just because I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And yeah, no, it was honestly really bad. But I think everything happens for a reason. And it wasn't until years, my hair grew back a couple times, but it wasn't until that accident happened where that was the first time where I was like, who cares that I'm bald? I
Yeah.
look good. Why does this matter? Like, I'm alive. That's the only thing that matters.
Hmm.
And in that moment, it kind of clicked. Like, I just gotta rock this. Like, I look good. I'm alive. The fact that I can even walk right now is a miracle.
Yeah.
And I realized it's kind of an opportunity too to like show others, like, just be yourself. Be happy. And yeah, it doesn't matter what people say, or you know what I mean. Now, now I get on stream or even in the Instagram comments, someone might say like Mr. Clean or like they make, but I love it now. They call me Wash. I'm like, yes.
Oh, Jordan Walsh,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll be since being in Vegas. There's been at least one, and even the card shows. I'll be walking around. People are like, "Josh Dobbs, that's Dobbs." I'm like,
Joshua
"I'm
Dobbs.
him, baby. I'm
Yes.
him." Yeah, I feel like it's just about embracing, who we are and stuff, and
Yeah.
trying to feel comfortable in your own skin. And it might take time and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like the accident helped me really changed my perspective and how
Yeah.
I see the world and life, and I'm much much more appreciative of everything.
Man, you're like really inspiring me. It's like I want to like I don't know. I want to be Kyle when I grow up. Um,
No.
so two things I want to say. One, it is so much more harder and tougher when like it's like the little comments from close friends. Um, but I mean, because the bullies and the trolls, like who really cares about all that stuff because they don't really know you. But like, yeah, it does dig a little bit harder. It's they always say like the people closest to you can twist the knife harder because they know where it hurts the most. But I'm that's we're supposed to grow out of that, but I don't know. But the other thing which is similar to that comment is I haven't posted it yet, but I made the content, and it's like this kind of like two sides of the same coin type of thing, and kind of goes back to cards where people are like, collect what you like or just be yourself, and then it's the same people who go, "Oh, retail is trash. Oh, you collect WNBA cards. Oh, hey, collect what you like. Oh, but not what you actually like, just the mainstream stuff." And the whole be yourself crowd. Oh, just be yourself. Like, I'll have people who tell me, "Oh, we love your content, just be yourself." And then I'll see them in another comment section be like, "Oh man, like you really blew that one," or to other people, and I'm like, "Man, you're just it's so contradictory and two-faced to say things like that." So I don't know. I'm still kind of workshopping it and trying to play around with it. But I mean, have you experienced things like that too?
I mean, yeah, I guess to a degree, but I mean, like people telling you one thing and then like saying the other.
Hmm.
Yeah, to a degree, but I don't know. At this point, I guess it depends. What it's like a little situational for me where it's like happened, but I don't, depending what I'm talking about or what I'm saying, because I do say some things that are like occasionally a little outlandish or a little out there. So, like, I don't know. At times I'm like, all right, like, yeah, like maybe this friend told me this before and like they're commenting this, but it's like, all right, maybe I kind of deserve, like, I don't know.
But I mean, at least whether you are to me it's entertaining, right? I mean, it can be polarizing, right, when if you say something that's a hot take or too outlandish, but I'd rather be entertaining than boring. And like just and unfortunately, this isn't an indictment. I'm not gonna call any specific particular content creator out there, but there is quite a number of people where I'm like, because I consume so much content in addition to making it, I'm like, man, some really bad content out there. And I'm like, it doesn't do anything for me. And so I guess what you could do is just mute it or block it or just move on. But I feel like the state of content is in a really interesting space because I think it could be just more entertaining, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, I think the content could be more entertaining. Part of it, I don't know. I think people do content for different reasons. And we have a lot of like content creators, and then there's also a lot of businesses doing content.
Hmm.
And I think some of these, I guess it's more so the businesses. Some of the businesses I feel like do content almost because they have to. And maybe that's why some of the content isn't as good. And then I don't know. I mean, we all think differently. Like, I might think I have the most genius idea of all time, and I might tell one of my buddies, I might tell Reed or Siebler or whoever, and they might, tell me like, listen, that's please don't do anything but that, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
And yeah, I don't know. I think creativity, though, we need to, and I need to hold myself accountable more and use my creativity to my advantage and put myself out there along with the cards and the card market and just the hobby.
Well, you know, don't be too hard on yourself because I think you are entertaining, and I think you do have creativity. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask you to be on here. I mean, I like your stuff, and again, it started from a place of not liking your stuff, just seeing your face and seeing, oh my gosh, look at this like young dude just like literally flexing on camera, and I'm like, I can't stand it. And then I thought to myself, why am I feeling this way? Am I in some way intimidated, or am I it's making me feel jealous or making me want to feel like, man, I want to be young again or something like that. So, I gave you and other people more of a chance, but I had to get more introspective to be like, why do I feel like this? And I'm so glad I gave you and other people more of a chance because it allowed me to, like connect with you and, get to know you more. And I look forward to meeting you, in a future card show or something like that. I mean, crazy as it sounds, like AA Mint. I think you mentioned to me that how you were there for the opening. That's in Cooper City in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right?
Yeah, it's they opened up a new shop and it's like Fort Lauderdale. It's I think 5 to 10 minutes from the Hard Rock Casino, so it's right middle of Fort
So
Lauderdale.
So I don't remember the Hard Rock Casino when I was a teenager, but for the small time that I was in Fort Lauderdale growing up, after New York City and before like the University of Florida, because I'm a Gator. I lived in Sunrise, Florida. I mean, I literally Cooper City was a rival high school, and like I lived literally 10 minutes down the road from where AA Mint is.
That's crazy. I didn't know you were from there
Yeah, no, I
or that you
I
lived
don't
down there.
Yeah, I don't. I talk more about maybe my New York connection because my Florida time, my Fort Lauderdale time was pretty short. I mean, it was like 3.5 years. It wasn't like a long time, but I remember collecting cards at that time. I remember being made fun, not made fun of, but because the Knicks beat the Heat, but like the 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 late '90s, Tim Hardaway versus, like Charlie Ward and Lonzo Mourning, just, all the wrestling that was going on and like,
Yeah,
fighting. But I remember one time I was cheering on the Knicks at a friend's house who was a, Miami Heat fan. And they bounce him out of playoffs, and he's like, you need to go leave my house. You need to go home. I wasn't even being like, a bad fan, but that he's not my friend anymore. Actually, it's so funny. That's the friend who not took, but I gifted him my Michael Jordan Scoring Kings, and we stopped being friends after I gave him the card. Like, I remember that now. Oh my gosh, I'm just having a total epiphany. He is the dude who kicked me out of his house because the Heat lost to the Knicks.
it's tough to be a Knicks fan in South Florida.
That's true.
That's
But I wasn't, it's so funny. I wasn't even a Knicks fan. I was a Jordan Bulls fan. But, at that time he was, retired again. And, he was kind of going through his own thing with, the struggles of versus gravity and father time. But I wasn't even like a Knicks fan. I just remembered, uh, you know, being cast as one, right? Kind of like this tribalism, like, we're Floridians, and, like, you guys just got a team, like, chill out. But no, the Heat. I mean, no, I love Jimmy Butler. And I mean, I don't PC him too much, but he's fantastic. And just everything that Pat Riley and the whole LeBron years and all that. It's a good franchise, but um, I just feel as if yeah, sports definitely, especially when you're like young, it consumes you. And I used to be such a hardcore fanatic, and now I'm just more of like a I don't feel like FOMO for missing, games and highlights and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel that too. You know what's cool too is like for me, like I used to when I was growing up, I used to like I don't want to say hate certain players, like I'd never wish bad upon them,
Yeah.
but like Kobe growing up, even
Mm-hmm.
I mean LeBron ended up joining the Heat, but LeBron for a period, like
Mm-hmm.
these were
Mm-hmm.
guys I like hated,
Yeah.
and as I got older, I kind of like appreciate like seeing these guys play more. I don't know. I enjoy
Oh,
watching
absolutely.
basketball older now.
Absolutely. I feel like we could do a whole nother segment. I would love to have you on again. But when it comes to sports hate, I mean, I remember like, I was of the era or generation where I'm like reading Bill Simmons, who basically just does podcasts now, doesn't even do any writing. But we're talking about sports hate. Like I used to loathe and despise the San Antonio Spurs because they played such a boring brand of basketball. But then I realized, am I being influenced by reading what's on the internet about the Spurs? And I was like, in hindsight, I'm like, man, like to do what they did in that in a small market and with, Pop and Duncan and Manu and Parker was so impressive. And I came to appreciate it a lot more. The Pistons, they beat the Lakers, they're the team, they played a great team basketball. And, but then I was like, oh, they're terrible because I can't believe they beat Shaq and Kobe and all this stuff. It's funny to just go through those emotions as a player, as a fan, because you're not a player. You're not,
Yeah,
they don't they don't give you money to be a fan.
yeah, no, they don't get you. You almost have to pay.
You
You have to pay to be a
sometimes you have to.
fan.
Yeah. Yeah. That I mean it's wild how much we again tribalism and the association that we put upon like there are people who, whether they're season ticket holders, whatever, they derive such a great sense of self-worth as being a fan of a particular team that they can't disassociate, right? And these are the people who get so angry and riled up that I mean, I guess I'll just say it now, like the Dallas Cowboy fans who punch a TV, right, out of anger. Can,
I
can
mean,
you can you imagine, like,
it is kind
several
of ins.
$1,000 just down the hole because you couldn't keep your emotions in check?
Yeah, no, it is kind of nuts. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that guy had money on the game too, or something.
That
I know what
yeah.
video you're talking to, like about too.
Oh,
Like
there are
that's the
several. There.
the
It's not just one. There's so many videos, and I mean, it's so much cheaper to burn a jersey than punch a television. But
I mean, yeah,
Um,
you know.
before I let you go, I did want to ask you, with your content and talking about sports and how much people, you just mentioned maybe he had money on the game. You and Blaz, who I would love to have down the road on this podcast, but um, what drives you to make the gambling content?
So when I started that, to be Chad started doing some gambling content. I'm like, I don't know if this is good. Like might be weeks later, I was like, dude, you just got to keep doing this. This is like the best thing of all time. And I don't gamble a ton. Like I never really gambled too much, but I realized like I don't know, when I did, I was never like that bad. So I figured like why not just like try it out for a little bit, just privately using the Hard Rock app. And I wasn't like betting big, but I was making money. So I was like, honestly, like I think I should go public. Like I've done a couple week test period. Like let's go. Like
Yeah.
I was feeling myself, and then
Ah.
NFL playoffs just humbled me so quick, so fast. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be doing that much anymore, but
I love how you were very truthful. You're like you were feeling yourself. Sometimes when you're feeling yourself, you just want to show it on social media. I totally get that. I'm shoveling I'm shoveling snow, and I'm like, you know what? It's a great time to take a picture. And so I just took a picture after
yeah,
shoveling snow because I felt so good. I felt, what I really felt was the the heart pumping, kind of like the endorphins rushing to my brain, kind of like this workout high. And then I gave my phone to my son, like, take a picture. I feel really good right now. Like,
yes,
after this picture, I'm gonna go buy some wax because just to treat myself. But no, the gambling content is interesting because some people, it's very polarizing, right? There's some people who are like, wax is already a gamble, or don't. Why are you promoting gambling? But it's just my opinion. If you don't like someone's content, you can easily just mute them, restrict them, unfollow them. But I do feel as if some people feel like they have to, whether it's like a moral high ground thing or, kind of like very, buttoned up and hoity-toity, they have to make it known that they're against it. And I don't know, I'm not for it, but I'm also not gonna like skewer someone for making that type of content either.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's understandable. It's like one of those things that's like, people, I see both sides of the coin, it's like, especially some of us have a lot of younger people following us, and,
It's
what
true.
we say, what we do, what we show them can directly influence what they're taking in. And I feel like it's just a teeter totter. And I'm not gonna like if because I probably will make some more gambling content here and there, but I'm not but like really not that much. But when I do, I'm gonna like make it known that, this isn't my life. I'm not, trying to say you're gonna make a living doing this.
Hmm.
I'm just kind of like, here's my pick. I think so and so is gonna win tonight, or so and so will have more whatever points. Yeah, no, I don't think it's. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little controversial, but I think it's good.
Well, we're past the hour mark, and I know we both got to go real soon, but I will admit the kids angle. This is why I don't curse on my content, whether it's podcasts or Instagram, because I do think about the end user, and my wife reminds me to think about the end user. But then I'm also like, you know what? Shouldn't these parents do a better job of like just making sure their kids aren't watching objectionable content? And maybe the card content is not supposed to be objectionable, but these are the same parents who are, again, there are kids in the hobby and there are kids in the hobby. And the reason I say it that way is there are some kids who, whether I mean, not whether, it is mom and dad's money, where they just have collections I'll never sniff or touch because it's way too, I mean, they have more $100 $1,000 cards than I ever will. And then there are kids who are like super happy to get a pack of top series one. Those are kids in the hobby to me. The other kids, they're like little businessmen and businesswomen. I mean, let's be real, it's mostly little boys or teenagers, but teen boys. But like, it's just so, I don't know, like, should the onus be on me and you to like watch what we say and do because of like a kid who's probably cursing more than I am?
Well, yeah, that's part of the thing. Like some of these people who say these crazy things in the comments, it's like a lot of them are like these younger kids, and I agree. Like I don't know. There's been a couple of times, at least two or three, where I've almost posted something that was probably just it was too. I had to. I showed a couple people, and they're like, there's kids that follow you, and I started telling them what you did, and they're like, yeah, but it's like, dude, this might be a little past that mark. Like this is Instagram. Like there's
Yeah,
families, and
yeah.
I don't know. I think as long as it's not like too extreme, like
Hmm.
maybe it's on the parents. I don't know. Well, you have kids though, right? Like,
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
you? Are they on like social media or
No, I only show
no?
them like, they don't have accounts. I don't show them on camera. I talk about them because they're a big part of my life and I love them. It's such an I associate myself more with being a dad than like in the hobby, and I love the hobby. So that just goes to show you how much I love my family. So I will say that I'll show them some reels I make, especially like when my older son and I pulled a Bronny James auto. I mean, now it's probably not worth that much because he's not playing too well, but we'll never trade that card. We'll never sell that card, and that's a moment where I made content out of that, and I showed him because I wanted him to see how fun it was. And I mean, he's like, you know, through school, he's editing videos and all that, and he's not going to be like I'm not going to let him, do content creation, but he's like a whiz with like the editing already, and he's so young. So I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah, so I love it. I'm like, wow, there you go, like, good job. Like, I just found out about CapCut, and I'm 41. Just found out about it age 40.
That app's awesome. I just found out about CapCut like a couple months ago. That app's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, just I look forward to, I mean, yeah, I know some people put their kids on a camera, whether it is to get the likes or the follows. But no, I it's been very intentional on our part as a family. Like, that was a very strict line. Like, show all the cards you want, you know, but leave the family stuff out, because not to get into all this stuff that's recently happened, but I just, who knows, right? Once it's out there, it's out there. So, and I definitely have had friends and family, I'll like, look at this, made a really funny video, and they're like, just don't post that one. That one's too bad. Just don't do it. And they've been good. I mean, you need that. You need people around you to kind of, help you out.
Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah, yeah, no, 1,000%. It's good to have those people that you can, bounce ideas off of, or send a video to just to double check it. And sometimes we do need to hear those things where it's like, dude, this is actually too much. Like, and
Right.
because maybe our perspective is so this way, but like what they're saying opens up another perspective, and we can kind of see things a little differently. And I think it's good. But with the kids, though, yeah, I mean, I feel like as long as it's not like that bad, then yeah, it might kind of be on the kids and the parents. But I don't know. That's I don't know. I feel like if you ask someone, their answer could be different every time you
Right.
ask someone new.
Something for future Kyle to think about. But for now, you are unencumbered. You are free to travel to Vegas for the Super Bowl, go to Burbank, and just kind of enjoy life, but also do business on the road. And I very much, a lot of this hobby, it's that nostalgia, or that wanting to feel young again. And I think some people, even with breakers, like there are some people who hate the yelling and the hooting and hollering and all that. But when it comes down to it, some people really enjoy just that youthful energy and exuberance. So I think that's what attracts another segment of population in getting into those. So I think that what you do for the hobby, thank you. Like, you're, again, I hope people get out of this that not just the guy who just rips his shirt off and like is like the hobby's alive, but more of like, you're a real person, and you've gone through a lot to get to, to be who you are. And I commend you for that. And I want people to root for Wizey or Wheezy, whatever we're going to say.
I appreciate that more than you know, Denny. Thank
Yeah.
you seriously. And I love watching your content too, and thank you for everything that you do. No, seriously. I
Thank you.
you make me laugh, you make me smile, and then you give out information too. It's I
Yeah.
no, seriously. The hobby
Thanks.
needs it. I think
Thank you.
everyone kind of like has their own part, and I think it's good that we're
Yeah.
all doing different things, similar things, but in our own different ways, you
Yeah,
know.
thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like, for any of us, I think people would miss, people like, oh, that person's bad or stupid or wrong. And it's like, you probably miss us if we left. It'd be more boring. It'd be, oh, it's all about the cards. It's like, yeah, the cards are important, but like, how many times you're going to like just a still picture of a card? It's like, great, there's a card. So,
Need some personality, some fun.
personality,
So
entertainment. Okay,
yes.
I gotta take you out on this question. Why do we keep having to say the hobby is alive if we know the hobby's alive? Like, is it just like a thing that we say because we want to just show how much we love the hobby? Like, why? I can't even think of a single time in my content where I've said like the hobby is alive. Maybe like in a more muted sense, like talking about a card show, like, oh, hey, here, look, the hobby's alive here. But that's like such a young man's slogan. No, I mean, talk to me
Yeah,
about that.
I don't know. I think when I first started making card content, I was kind of just going nuts, like taking my shirt off, screaming, throwing cards and whatever I had off balconies, and I would just like scream like outrageous things, like "Let's go!" And then the hobby's alive was just kind of like one of them, like the hobby's alive, like it's
Yeah,
booming.
yeah. Oh my
I,
goodness.
yeah, it was more of just like it's the hobby's doing well, we're having fun, like the hobby's where we want to be. It's
It is.
alive.
It
It's
it is
breathing.
where we. Yep. It is breathing. It's where we want to be. Again, just thank you for making your content. Again, it's so much fun to see, and you're not hurting anyone. I'm not hurting anyone. We're just doing our best, and this is like. I mean, you're definitely more into the business side of the hobby, but if we can make something out of it, and just self fund the cards that we want to keep and have and enjoy, then more power to us. So, uh, Kyle, Weiss, Wheezy, Wisey, definitely not Wiz the Collector.
No.
Uh, the official Wisey official. if we can,
Yes.
where can people find you? Wizey_official, right?
Yes.
WYZEY.
Underscore official. Yeah. On Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
TikTok too, right? Oh yeah, we talked a
I
little
think
bit
it's
about
the same.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it off camera before I press record, but TikTok is his own little animal, and I don't know. A little part of me dies every time I like cross post because I know my heart's not really into like growing TikTok or anything like that. But thank you so much for your time. Especially, I can't believe you gave me more than an hour of your time while you are in Vegas, not in a hotel, but in an Airbnb. Give my best to the folks you're with, and again, wow, 5 months from now, it's going to be national. So I look forward to meeting you then, if not sooner.
I can't wait to meet you as well. It was an honor to be on here. I had a blast. And yeah, whenever you want to do this again, I'm down. This was awesome.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much. I'm going to press end record, and we'll chat for just a brief moment.
Awesome.
Okay.